Anyone who says that they know what is going to happen with AI is lying to you. Yes, Ray Kurzweil did predict artificial general intelligence around 2029, so in just a few years. But also, Star Trek predicted the tricorder. It didn't predict the effect that the iPhone would have on people. No one in Star Trek is staring at their phone for hours on end and blowing off their family and friends. That's because Star Trek predicted the technology, but it didn't predict, let's say, the like button or reels or anything like that. The unpredictable factor here is the human beings involved. The only thing that you can actually predict about people is that you can't predict what they're going to do, but rest assured, it will be annoying. They will frustrate you. It doesn't matter what the invention is, somebody is going to get hurt, but hopefully more people will be helped. And I sincerely hope that that is the case with AI. This video is about the range of comments that I got on my AI psychosis video from a few months back. Some say AI is destroying my life, and some are saying AI is my best friend. Reluctantly, it's my best friend. Can you believe that? Now, this first comment is from a young husband and father, and this is his side of the story, and we don't know his wife's opinion on this. I'm happy to hear her out if she's out there, but this story actually tracks with what we're hearing about AI psychosis, unfortunately. So I'm just going to call him Concerned Dad. He says, I'm currently on the brink of divorce because of AI. My wife has completely lost her ability to think on her own. Any messages I send to her, she runs through AI to formulate a response for her. She just sends me screenshots of what ChatGPT says instead of talking to me. Worst off, Chat has been convinced that I'm a bad guy and she is some sort of victim. So it analyzes every message that I send her in that way. The craziest part is she has been using it to decode the Greek New Testament and believes she is having prophetic revelations. She now thinks she has divine authority, and if I speak against anything she says, I'm speaking against God. I love my wife, and I don't know what to do. She becomes absolutely enraged when I suggest she get mental health help. At this point, the only thing I know to do is to divorce her and protect my daughter. That is a really bad situation. I hate to be in it. Now, we spoke about AI encouraging messianic beliefs in the first video. I use chat a lot, and it does have a tendency to affirm your beliefs. Sometimes it doesn't do it at first, but people have a tendency also to push an issue, especially if they want a certain answer. Also, the longer a chat goes on, the more chance that ChatGPT will hallucinate. What's happening in this situation is that this dynamic is completely destroying this person's family. He's got a daughter with this woman, and she's caught in a madness. I reached out to our psychiatrist friend, and this is what he told me word for word. I also told Concerned Dad about this. He said, 1, take careful steps to ensure daughter's safety. 2, try again to get her into therapy. I'd be honest in letting her know why and see how she responds. 3, if it's still a no, suggest couples therapy with the caveat that we need to do this because he's unhappy and their marriage needs it. Now, the first step we often overlook, but it's essential with kids, especially when these stray religious like cult beliefs come into play. If we take Concerned Dad at his word, his wife and this machine have formed a relationship in which he is the villain. Now, what's to say that she won't just take the daughter and go somewhere else? ChatGPT is in her pocket. It's on her phone, and she could be with it just about anywhere she goes. Meanwhile, he is a person, a flesh and blood person, one that she seems to be ignoring. Of course, who knows what a person who's experiencing psychosis is capable of? I don't even want to discuss those things, but the very important first step is take steps to ensure your daughter's safety. I often think that is overlooked, especially when we're dealing with our spouses, because we think, oh, they wouldn't. But statistically, they would. AI psychosis isn't yet a clinical diagnosis, but just wait a few years, and I think that it will be. Unfortunately, tech is moving so fast that the institutions are playing catch up. Just a real quick add to this. I reached out to our psychiatrist friend, as you know, and he sent me all of these articles. And basically what it is saying, this particular one I'm reading right now, is AI as a novel digital stressor in adolescent psychosis, clinical and ethical implications. And this is by Chamartha Das and Kashyap. and this is the International Journal of Psychiatry and Medicine. It's basically saying that, kids are the most susceptible to this. Their brains haven't completely formed yet, and they are working on it. The psychiatrists, the doctors, they're working on it, and he seems confident that it will be in the next DSM, and it will be filed under whatever the illness is that the ChatGPT or the chatbot is exasperating. So there is that. So the psychiatrist says to get her into therapy. Concerned dad says that she doesn't want to go, but let's say he does file for divorce and he wants custody. If I were in a situation, I would seek sole custody, because there's no way I would let my kid with a spouse that's experiencing any kind of psychosis unsupervised. It's my child, it's your kid. But other parents are different. I understand that. So let's say he goes to court and asks for custody. They'll probably make him prove that she's mentally unfit to be a parent. So she's got to go to therapy anyway. So it's lose-lose for her with the therapy. I would tell her, look, either you go now or the judge makes you go. That's me. Anyway, people, once you have kids, you gotta hold it together. You really gotta hold it together. If we are in some sort of simulation like The Sims or something, you gotta be the best sim that you can be. Once the kids are grown, you can go nuts. In fact, I think you should go nuts. I don't want to hear about any messianic complexes except from single people and empty nesters, and nothing in between. This is a major predicament that she has put her family in, and she's just gotten sucked into this bizarre relationship. And third, the psychiatrist said, go to couples therapy. And I sincerely hope that this woman listens. Now, I asked the psychiatrist, Dr. Ted, I was like, can he just take her phone and take the computer away and put it in a blender and blend it up? Because actually drinking a microchip smoothie is healthier than this. However, that may be overkill. Still, some of you out there are toxic like me, and you know that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. And I do feel that sometimes people just get caught up in these mental or these psychic traps, and the easiest thing to do is just to remove them from a situation. To me, it's like if your kids fall into the wrong crowd at school, if you can change schools, that's a very easy solution. But not everybody can, and this woman is an adult, so she's not a child. Okay, so this next one really gets to why people are using ChatGPT instead of getting friends in real life. I will call this person Real Friends Wanted. And they say, I use ChatGPT a lot because being autistic, I find it more communicative than most people around me, annoyingly. Anyway, yes, it is one massive sycophant, and I would definitely describe it as my toxic best friend because, as you said, it never disagrees with me. So I do have to be careful about taking advice seriously a lot of the time. Please, people, get off your phones and actually have a present, real conversation because people like myself kind of need you to be more present. Otherwise, we end up basically saying all the things we'd like to be talking to people about to stupid AI tools, getting bad advice. It frequently feels like I live in a ghost town in the offline world. That line really stuck with me because I'm not even autistic. I don't think I'm autistic. But yeah, it does feel like a ghost town sometimes. This is the loneliness epidemic that people are talking about, and it is real. I'm old enough to remember before social media took over everything. People were so bored that they actually talked to other people. Of course, that opens you up to the good and bad behavior and positive and negative influences from other people. But for example, I do think it's better for kids to stay online than to join gangs. However, a lot of kids who aren't at risk from joining gangs, they should have the options of real life friends. The decline in real friends, I feel, started with Facebook, where you got these virtual friends, but they weren't really your friends. And before social media, people used the phone to have conversations with their real friends. Then text replaced conversations, then likes replaced text. If you try to talk to people now, maybe that they will think that you are weird, especially if you try to talk to a girl or a guy, try to pick them up. And there's so many clout chasers on social media that have made posts about how cringe it is when people try to have a conversation with them in real life, that it kind of distorts our view of conversations. But you know what? A lot of people like small talk, and those who don't, those are the cringe ones. DoorDash is a thing. So if you don't want to talk to people, you can stay in your house. People, they're out in public, they're avoiding eye contact, they're looking like scared little mice. Just stay in your home. You have that option now. I think we should normalize small talk again. It actually serves a purpose of building a friendly community. What if you go missing and nobody knows you even live in the area? Like, have you seen this person? I don't know that person. They live next door. Oh. Also, I feel that people have gotten so out of practice with having conversations that ChatGPT simply blows normal people out of the water. The people who are good at having conversations, they are practiced or they are professionals like salespeople or therapists. And you know how you get good at having conversations? Small talk. I think Real Friends Wanted is absolutely correct to say we need to all get off of our phones and have real conversations, even if they're superficial. Then, if a relationship evolves, you can talk about more deep things, more complex things. Most of the friends that I have, it started with really superficial conversations. And then maybe our fifth, our sixth encounter, then we really got to know each other. Then we'll share intimate details then. And then it's like, oh, this person, they're a friend now. So what do you like about ChatGPT? Well, it's positive, it's supportive. Okay, is that behavior you can model in your own life? What don't we like? Well, it's sycophantic and delusional in its nature. Well, don't model that behavior. You might find that you start up a conversation with a person that is also starved for human connection and they gravitate towards you. And if they don't, it's their loss. I am not joking when I say that you can ask Google or ChatGPT how to have a good conversation. Type it in, how to have a good conversation, and they'll give you decent advice. The trick is not too much too soon, just a little. And if the other person wants more, you can continue that vibe. Select Kiko says, I always had a theory that at some point a large portion of humanity would retreat into virtual worlds and leave the gene pool. There's probably some sort of genetic predisposition for it, like there is for alcoholism or other behaviors. That's interesting. There may be a genetic predisposition, and I agree to this to a certain extent. There are already people who have fallen victim to social media and they live online, and those who live IRL in real life are healthier and more well-adjusted. My cousin doesn't have any socials. It's crazy. They're probably better suited to have a family, and AI chatbots, they're just multiplying that exponentially. I know my son does not have an iPad, and I'm getting him around all the other toddlers that I can so that he talks to other people, that he's socialized. We even made a big move across the country to be around family so he can have family gatherings. Now, unfortunately, parents will have a lot to do with how their kid turns out. An overly online kid or a well-socialized kid. And that is not fair because you don't get to choose your parents. And sometimes these parents, they're busy on their iPhones or with their jobs. They can't properly train their kids. That is already the real privilege divide. How good are your parents? I am so happy to hear that some of Gen Z is starting to step away from their phones and from social media. Now, how many this is, it might be overstated in the press, but there is limited polling and anecdotal evidence that says some are breaking the habit. Real Friends Wanted, my advice to you is to start a conversation with people, even if it's something small. Talk to the cashier. If someone's holding a book that you find interesting, say so. If you're in line, talk about the weather. If you're next to me in line, if you happen to be next to me in line, you can say something like, if this is a simulation, then why are we waiting in line for our coffee? What kind of an a-hole programmed us to wait in line? And I promise you, we will be best friends. Here's other stuff. Does your local library have a chess club or a reading club? Go to that. Go to trivia night. Go to the gym. Take that karate class. I have made so many friends being an adult figure skater, and I miss them all so much. Honestly, just because the majority of your generation is still on the phone and unable to hold a conversation or unwilling to hold a conversation doesn't mean that they're healthy or well adjusted. Enough are waking up so that you can find 2 or 3 to hang out with and maybe even get a partner. It's not lost yet. But even before phones, half of these people they're effing weirdos. So I can only imagine what it's like now. Every generation, they have their good and their bad qualities. Real people will give you bad advice too, not just ChatGPT. You can have chat and you can have real friends now. There are so many more options available to you, but we get stuck in what we know. Don't. You got to break out of what you know. Now, this last one is a little frightening, but they work in healthcare and it's an encounter. They're telling us to help us out. I'll call her Nurse Worried. And this is one anecdote. It's not a pattern as far as I know right now as of filming. I am a nurse, and one of the patients in my unit was admitted under trauma for a fall from a 7-story building by jumping off after an 8-hour debacle with ChatGPT and discussing spirituality, chakras, and whatnot. I'm so concerned for the future of our mentally ill population with the rise of AI. Now, she is right that this will disproportionately affect the mentally ill population because, as we talked about before, chat can affirm delusions that a therapist or a friend would not. AI therapy, like Wobot, that's already a thing, although it is not approved by the FDA or medical boards yet. And although it might be good for some, I don't think that these are there yet, especially for the mentally ill. The trial and error phase may leave a lot of people with broken lives and broken bones. So anyway, I got too many great comments to list them all. A few people have already noticed that their friends are retreating into this virtual world and they are helpless to stop them. Because look, people have lives. They have jobs, they have spouses, they have kids. They cannot spend the time necessary to rescue a friend on a downward spiral, especially if that friend doesn't want to be helped and doesn't think they need any help. Honestly, the only relationships that will do this for you are significant others, parents, and maybe siblings. Not to be cynical, but people have bills to pay. They just don't have the time. But not ChatGPT. ChatGPT has nothing better to do than to talk to you, for better or worse. Now, let me know what you think in the comments. Are you worried, or do you think that this will all come out in the wash? My honest opinion is that I would like there to be a social media and AI detox kind of center rehabilitation program that is covered by insurance like rehab. I know it might be costly for insurance, but so is rehab. Anyway, you let me know in the comments, and I will see you next week.